Hello, people. It's your boy Usmaan back again with the Manchester United podcast. As you can see from yesterday's title, the question was, in fact, it wasn't in the question. We were just saying we're top of the league. But today, it is a question. The question for today's podcast is, can we win it? Or at least I want to hear what the thoughts of our fantastic panel are. As always, make sure you drop a like, subscribe to the channel, get your comments in for the panel. We're going to start with this lovely lady for the first time on my show. Massive fan. I know my brother's a huge fan as well of your content. Alice, what are you saying? You good? Oh, she's like that.
Hello, thanks for having me on, and I am good, thanks. You?
Yeah, not too bad, not too bad. Absolute pleasure having you on. As always, you know, we want to try and get as many new people we can because we want to get everyone's different thoughts. And speaking of which, it's his first time on the podcast. To be honest, I don't really know why he's been avoiding me. If you're trying to get him on, these bookings these days is difficult. It's too popular for me. And Neil, how you doing?
I'm pretty well. I'm looking forward to this.
Yes. We're looking forward to.
I probably need to wash myself with soap after I finish with you, but I'm looking forward to this.
Listen, it's fine, Neil. You know, I've missed you. Even though you take the piss out of me every given moment. It's all love. We love to see it. And also, we got the homie from flipping Jerry United. Jerry, wait, listen, bro.
Yo.
Not that fan calling show, yeah. Man came on right again and just on a high bro. What are you saying, man? How you feeling?
I'm in good spirits, man. Obviously, it's nice sitting at the top here, looking down at the peasants. But, you know, we move, man. We move on to Sunday.
Yes. And last but not least, we got Chris from Let's Talk United. Chris, thank you for coming on lastminute.com. Obviously, I know you're a huge fan of Ollie, so this is going to be a great show for you. A bit of positivity for you. But how are you feeling, brother?
Yeah, really good to be top of the league. Of course it is. Looking down at everyone else, it's going to be competitive up there, but it's just nice to be in the mix for the first time in about 7 years, to be fair.
Yeah, I think it's been 8 years, man. Honest to God, this is ridiculous. But listen, with that at the top, we're going to discuss everything. Has it been? Yeah, I don't even know how many fingers. I'm assuming it was 8. Right, listen, we're going to discuss the Burnley game first and foremost. Manchester United getting over the line against Burnley, 1-0 and finished to a goal from Paul Labile Pogba. Alice, we'll start with you first and foremost. I just want to get your thoughts really on the performance. Obviously, you know, the importance of that victory, shall we say. What do you reckon?
Oh, it was a game I was really we won. I was sweating a bit. I was thinking this is a classic game where United would drop points. You know, Last season teams like Burnley, Southampton, West Ham, we were dropping points too. But now we're getting 3 points against them. And if we want to go, we got to get 3 points against teams like Burnley. And Burnley and Wolves are the two teams that cause us problems. And the fact that we got 3 points against Wolves and Burnley was so fun because Burnley down and I was so well in the second half. I was really impressed with Pogba and Matic. I think they were brilliant in the second half. Yeah. Defense was good. And I was like, we deserve to win. Burnley didn't have a shot on target. I was like, we deserve to win. And then we got that goal. And I was just so happy because I think United normally bottle those chances to go top. I remember in the race for top 4 right at the end, Chelsea would draw, then we would draw. Yeah, and I was like, we have a chance to go top. It's Burnley. We might bottle it. But we won. We're top of the league. I don't know how long we're going to be top of the league, but I'm just happy and I'm going to embrace it while we're top of the league.
Yeah, no, completely agree with you in terms of what you mentioned with the Wolves as well. Wolves and Burnley are just those bogey teams, in particular Wolves for us. And the fact that we dug in deep and got over the line in both of them, for me personally, that shows a lot of character within the team. Just want to give a shout out to my good friend here, Benji. Greetings everyone from Ghana, the homie. Obviously I started this channel with Benji, but now he's on tour, man. He's left me, man. I don't know how I feel about that. But listen, Benji, love from Ghana. As always, thank you for tuning in. Zayn saying my jinx carried on United. LOL. United we're saying yes, boys and girls. And then Jamie Gretton, a regular also. Sometimes scraping wins like that means more. I've completely not read that right, but it's all good. You know what it meant. Anyways, Neil, what are your thoughts? Obviously, Alice has kind of gone down the route of, we dug into, we got the result against two teams we notoriously dropped points against, and we would have probably last season as well, but we got over the line this year, man. How are you feeling about that result?
That's the sort of game we needed to win, a scrappy sort of affair, rather than. That's the sort of game we've been trying out for us to win, because Ollie set the team. He sent quite a big physical side out to match up with Burnley, and it paid off. I was quite comfortable once we went one in front because Burnley didn't offer, well, 2/5 of nothing going forward.
Yeah.
So it was always, to me, it was first goal wins in that game. It sets us up nicely for Sunday, but I think it'll be a very different side, a different approach, different tactics. But we need to win, like Alice was quite right in saying, we need to win those games where, 12 months ago, 5 years ago, we wouldn't have won. Never mind 12 months ago. 5 years ago, we weren't getting those games over the line. So it shows that we're starting to develop a bit of guts and a bit, we're strapping a pair on and we're getting on with it. Because it wasn't a great game to watch, but we won. So happy days.
Yeah, no, listen, in terms of, scrapping and getting through the game, we always hear this sort of notion around other clubs in particular. A lot of people say about Liverpool, I included, have said it. These are the kind of, I don't want to say it because I might jinx it, but these are the kind of games that you look back as champions and say, no, what, it was these wins that got us the title in the end. Because especially Burnley, for me, they made it very difficult for us in the first half. You got to give huge credit to them, although I want them to get relegated because they're Stoke City 2.0. But you got to give credit to them. They battled, they did what they got to do. And our players, for once in a long time, Jerry, show that we can fight. And for me personally, they're the kind of wins that you think, know what, there is something about this team, What do you reckon?
Yeah, I'm just going through, going a couple games back, even when we beat Wolves with the last minute winner, that was a nervy game to watch because that looked like it would just be stalemate and we won't get over the line. But something's in the air, man. Deflection. I'll take it anyhow it goes in the back of the net.
Two deflections, by
Two
the way.
deflections.
The Wolves one was as well.
Yeah, and then the Villa game
against Villa as well. So there's a lot of tears from rival fans. You love to see it.
Yeah, with the Bailly block at the end, and then this Burnley game, like the guys have been saying, it was very hard to watch. But I always felt that we could score because our away record this season has just been phenomenal. And Burnley, like you said, I do want it to get relegated. They're hard to watch. And the fact that when Maguire scored and it didn't get given, when Burnley have scored many a times that same way, I just thought, nah, man, we have to get the result today. And obviously Pogba comes, sticks it in. It was a huge result. Like, I know the rest have been huge results, but this one was to go top of the league. Like, not joint top, like top. So yeah,
no joint top, man, flipping there at the summit, and obviously the Liverpool Scousers or the scum, whatever you want to call them, they're gonna knock us off our page. Chris, what do you reckon in terms of this game in itself? What do you think Ollie did in the second half? Because for me personally, I thought we were shocking first half. I've got to be honest, I don't think it was our greatest of performances. In terms of the second half, do you think Ollie deserves a lot of credit? Because it seemed like there was a complete different manner in which we approached it.
Well, first of all, in the first half of the game, it was a physical battle between the two teams. We played to all their strengths. So yeah, we got too involved in all the ruckus and the physicality of it. And it wasn't our game; it was their game. And I think that's where we went wrong. They pushed us into a corner where we had to fight them, and we fought them back, and we stopped playing football. And in that, they were only ever going to win that. Apart from the fact we had a goal disallowed that shouldn't have been. But second half, credit to Ollie because. Obviously, without being in the changing room, it's almost as if he went, leave that alone, play football, get the ball on the ground, play football. They can't play football as well as us. They can fight as well as us. They can challenge as hard as us, but they can't play as well as us. So get the ball down on the carpet, play with the ball, and you'll eventually score. And it's the first time, speaking about the 8 years ago since we were in the title race, it's the first time I watched a game where I thought, do you know what? We're going to win. I never felt like before the game that we might not win this game. Obviously, there's always that 10% chance you might not win, but it's the first time in a long time that we've got a united side now that when we come up against these teams, you might slip up, but I don't expect us to slip up anymore. Yeah. With Mourinho, I did. With Van Gaal, I did. With Moyes, I did. Ollie, even this time last year, I did. But I don't feel like that anymore. And that's credit to him because now I know that we're going to come out in the second half. I know he'll get it right and change it. And he doesn't always, but he does enough to the point that we're top of the table. He does deserve credit for that.
Yeah, no, I hear what you're saying. In terms of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, Alice, what are your thoughts on the manager? A lot of people criticising him. Obviously, I've seen some of your videos anyway, but for those that haven't, what are your thoughts regarding the manager, his sort of role within our current sort of run of form? Do you think he doesn't get the credit he deserves, or do you feel some of the criticism is justified?
I'm Ollie and myself, and I do think he is a little bit over criticised. You know, he gets a lot more criticism than Lampard and Arteta, and I believe Ollie has done a better job. He took us from 6th to 3rd. We're now in a title race. Ollie has frustrates me about him, substitutions and slight Tom and I and Maguire favour always found. But in terms of a manager, I held at the play for him, and I think that's the most important thing, that I feel like the players play for him. I think when he gets the players he wants, like Bruno Fernandes, he's proven he can take us somewhere. Bruno Fernandes was the signing he wanted. He was successful. I think Ollie has a plan. I think Ollie has a vision. I think he knows what he wants to do. I don't think he's been fully backed. But I say as a manager, he is you know, he hasn't really done much wrong other than a few weird substitution choices and maybe not playing Donny. But we're winning games. You can't really criticise him right now.
Yeah, no, I hear what you're saying. I think for me personally, and I don't know if Jerry is probably the only other person who might agree with me on this panel, but I think my frustration has always been with Ollie is his in-game management. I just think he's too slow to make decisions. Like the game against Manchester City, that was the first time in a while that I've fully raged after a game, because I just don't understand why you're so much done Van de Beek with 2 minutes to go. But in terms of this game, Neil, if you're Ole Gunnar Solskjaer going into the Liverpool game, what do you feel that he needs to have learned from this game in terms of his squad, his players, his selection? What do you think? What would you take away most if you're Ole Gunnar Solskjaer from this result against Burnley?
Well, I think the team will be different in at least 2 or 3 spots.
Yeah.
Can't see Matic playing because I can't see him doing two games.
I think he's injured, to be fair. I think he pulled his groin, if I'm not wrong.
I think he'll bring McTominay in. Seems to be his favoured midfield in terms of the bigger games. What he's learned from the Burnley game is that we've got some grit and we managed to battle out a win. But I think that'll have no bearing on what happens on Sunday, to be honest, because this is a completely different kettle of fish. And I think if we can impart our free-flowing game on Liverpool, I think we've got every chance of. I don't see the game being a draw. Let's put it that way.
Well, okay.
I see the game being positive one way or the other. I just don't see it being a draw in some weird way. And I just hope we're not punching above our weight. And there's now more expectation on that squad. Like I said to you before the show, the only time we need to be top of the table is after the last game of the season. So the longer we're on top, the more pressure is going to build and build and build. And we have been a side that's been able to, attack well from behind in terms of our league position. And by the way, as regards Lampard and Arteta, I don't give a shit what their managers do. I only care about mine. Sorry, Alex, but that's it. I don't care about the managers. I just hope Holly can handle this new pressure that's going to come his way now we're top.
Yeah, no, I think that's a key word, because look, Alice, you made a very good point earlier on when you talked about last season where every time Chelsea dropped points, we dropped points. We couldn't capitalise and obviously overcome them. Burnley was a sign in the right direction. We finally capitalised on our opposition dropping points, which of course took us above them. Jerry, in terms of the mental battle, we got a huge game against Liverpool. It's a massive game, yeah. Listen, how are you feeling going into this one? How are you feeling going to Anfield, knowing that if we beat them, we're 6 points above them?
I'm in good spirits, man, because I think this is the best chance we'll ever have to go there in the form we're in and with their injuries and what's going on over at Liverpool. Yeah. I'm excited for Sunday, to be honest. I'm ready to take the W. Like, I know people say, yeah, we can take a draw. I'm not on that boat. W is only for me because win at Anfield.
I see Jerry, Neil just said, don't get too carried away.
No.
You just said, W's only. Like, I feel like we've been here before against Arsenal. Our fans thought we're going to beat them. Against Man City, our fans thought we're going to beat them. Obviously, we lost both of them. Against Spurs, we got absolutely humiliated. I'm not saying those games are the same, but I do feel like we've been too confident. I don't know
you know why? You know why I say this was because Liverpool right now, their fans are scared. They're rattled that they're centre back. They're playing Henderson in defence. Like, we will never get this chance again. That's why I think is all or nothing for me. I think a win just takes us to a whole new level. So a draw doesn't really change much because you City are breathing down our necks with their games in hand. So I think let's go for the win, man. Because like I said, our away form's the best in the league. Liverpool, they're struggling at the back. Yeah, man, let's go for it. That's how I'm feeling.
Right. Okay, fair enough. Listen, for me personally, I don't actually care if we win, as long as we don't lose. Like, I genuinely, that's how I feel. And the reason being is it's a long season. At the end of the day, a lot of our fans were getting pissed off because we drew to Man City. I was one of the fans that was like, I was annoyed at the time, don't get me wrong, but in hindsight, I was thinking, look, it's a draw against Man City in the grand scheme of things. It's probably not a disaster. And I feel, although Man City could potentially overtake us, they got to play Liverpool as well. If we get a draw against Liverpool, it's not a disaster for me. Like, Chris, where do you feel with the sort of, or do we should go in for the win, or you're on Neil's side, we shouldn't get carried away?
Yeah, I don't think we should get carried away, for sure. But Liverpool, they're not at their strongest. The centre-backs are missing. It's our opportunity to go there and win. And the key for me is going to be bravery. So playing Eric Bailly, not going, I'm going to play Lindelof and Maguire because they're more sturdy and we're going to sit deep. No, play with the more agile defender that allows us to play further forward, and that means that if they get in behind us, that we can recover those runs. Like, be brave, play Pogba, don't play McFred in a double pivot. Like, play Pogba if you want to, and bring one forward. If he does that, if he plays Pogba and he plays Bailly, look. Yes, we are miles behind them in the sense of, like, last season they ran away with the title, the season before they won the Champions League. But right now on paper, you look at the 11 that they'll actually field and the 11 we can field, and then there's nothing between them. Unless we decide that we want to be negative and take those players out to play more defensive ones, then they're better than us. If we choose to put our best players on the pitch, then we can be as good as them and take them on. And as someone said, it's our chance it's our chance. It's our man for me. Without putting a downer on the whole situation, like Man City are the team to beat for the Premier League, not Liverpool, in my opinion. From the beginning,
I completely agree.
Yeah, I think they're the team to beat. So we're looking over our shoulder at them. We've got Liverpool to take on as well, and they're obviously no mugs what they've done in the last couple of years. Let's get 6 points ahead of them. Easier said than done. Yes. Easier said than done. But
I'm liking that.
You play for it. You play for it. You don't play to lose.
Yeah, no.
You play to win. You might lose, but you play to win.
One thing I will add to that, Chris, is right. We did this against Leipzig when Oli tried to play for the draw, and we know how that finished.
Exactly.
If he does that again, so I hear your point. So I do think he needs to go, moderately attacking, and of course, have sort of impetus going into it. Alice, what do you reckon? Obviously, slight contrast in opinions. Do you agree with the lads and say that, look, play your attacking players, go for it, or would you think? And there's a comment in here saying play a bit cautious and hit them on the break. Where do you sort of fall with the approach?
I agree with Chris, to be honest. I think I look at Liverpool defence. I go, okay, Trent defensively not that good, especially without that. Matic could be out, Gomez is out. I think that Liverpool defence is there for the taking, and I think if we played Bailly and Maguire, we're a lot stronger at the back. We could play over higher line, and I think obviously Anfield, we don't want to get away with ourselves. They have a very good home record in the Premier League, and a draw at Anfield is a good result for sure. A draw at Anfield always a good result. But there's a weaker Liverpool team, and if this Liverpool side don't turn up, especially for the taking, I just think Rashford versus Trent, see Martial and Greenwood haven't hit their best yet, but if they could get firing, Bruno Fernandes has never played against Liverpool. I do think that with Liverpool's weak defence, we could push forward a bit and be a little bit less cautious. And I think Bailly and Maguire should play, and we should have a bit of a higher line. Obviously, I know Liverpool have a great attack, but they're not as good this season. They got their key players out, so I do kind of agree with Chris. I feel like we don't have to be as normally be. I feel like if you go 6 points clear of Liverpool, we're in such a good position.
Yeah, well, if you got 6 points clear of Liverpool, for me personally, just mentally, and it's going to take a long time for the reporters and everyone to get tears out of Klopp, to get his collective tears, because it's going to be a long time. He's just going to be stood there crying after the game if we beat them. I would love to see that. But in terms of going a bit more aggressive because they're there for the taking, I do hear that point. My only concern is, and I'll pass it to you, and obviously to get your thoughts on the approach as well. We've been here before with Arsenal, it backfired. We've been here before with, RB Leipzig to an extent, it backfired. We've been here against Istanbul, it backfired. Every time we seem to not underestimate as fans, we kind of go into these games thinking we should set the precedent. I personally think that this Liverpool team, I just said it on G's channel, every time they played against a so-called big team, Spurs and Man City in particular, most notably recently, they've been fantastic in the first half with their press. And that's something that we can't overlook, because if they play to their best ability, regardless of the defence, they could be out of sight for me personally, because our defence is actually really poor, although with buy-in that we have been better. Neil, what do you reckon? Do you think I'm being too negative, or do you fall more on my side, or do you agree with the guys?
Now, I've known you for a few months. What do you think my answer to that will be? You are being a bit negative. I do the negative stuff. You are being a bit negative because defensively,
I'm not going to sit here and say, yeah, we're going to be
we're pretty good. I mean, Luke Shaw's been playing well. I don't know what this channel feels about Luke Shaw, but I've been a big fan of him, and he's not letting us down. Basaka's going through a bit of a weird time, but that always happens. And I still think he's the best right back in English football. Yeah. And I'd fight his case against anybody else, any other right back in English or British football. I think we don't want to. I wouldn't want to get too bogged down in exactly what Liverpool can do to us. Let's see what we can do to them. And if we can, like I said in the previous segment, we can impart our game on them, then Liverpool will have plenty to worry about, because we got pace up, we got pace to burn up front. I think Cavani will probably be an impact sub, possibly, and then he just goes with the 3-speed merchants up front.
Well, to be fair, I'd probably start Cavani. I'm not going to lie. Obviously, we'll come to the team sheet.
50-50, isn't it? It's 50-50, but either way, I don't see him playing. I see there's, I know he looks fit and strong and stuff, and he works his whatsits off the other night. Sorry, it's really hard. It's really hard not to swear. I'm doing this for you, Alice, because I can make a vicar swear most of the time. But I think if we impart our game on them,
I don't mind if you swear.
Well, I do, and my mum would tell me.
But don't get him started, Alice. Don't get him started.
For fuck's sake, don't get me started. Don't ask me about Leeds. That's another one to keep a swerve on. But if we can put our 11 up against theirs, I fancy our 11 against any 11 in the league. Our problem is what's going to go on between the ears. Do we actually believe we're good enough to go to Liverpool and get a victory? Does Ollie believe he's good enough to manage a team to go to Liverpool? Because what I'm concerned about is we're now going to have, extra, like I said before, extra pressures that this squad and Ollie have not had on them while they've been together.
Yeah, no, I like the pressure. I completely agree with. In terms of belief is so key in football. A lot of times, you hear the ex-Man United player saying we won the game within the tunnel because a rival players, you could tell within their face, they didn't believe that they could get a result against us. And for me personally, I think Bruno is going to be a huge factor in having any form of belief going into this game, because like you mentioned already, he's not played against Liverpool. It's his first time playing against them, and he's a winner. Like he's got that mentality that we need. I think Cavani for me will also be very important because he's played high stakes games as this is. We've just got a couple of comments that I have to put. First and foremost from Brenda, it's just made me laugh here. Well, you got Alice Tugs Football on your show. She's brilliant. So a bit of love for you, Alice, there. I'd love to see it. Hassan saying our squad is stronger than Liverpool's. Also, we got the United way saying players like Rashford thrive in these games. To be fair, Rashford has got a very good record against Liverpool. Push them back so their front three gets starved of the service. I would go with the diamond and pack the midfield, and also added Salah and Mane do not trap back, but of course their midfield does all the running. Jerry, coming to you. To spot Martial injured ?
Did he not come off?
I'm fairly confident.
I don't think he
because you missed that sitter. I genuinely believe that.
I think it was more precaution. I thought it was a precaution.
I honestly think it's because he missed that chance. He's come off injured. I really believe it because I've watched him probably start. But anyways, Jerry, let's talk about your thoughts in terms of what we can do to hurt them. Because Neil quite rightly said, and I completely agree with him. Let's not worry about Liverpool for a second. Let's focus on what we can do to hurt them. We know their defense is weak. We know we got players with, sheer pace such as Rashford. For you personally, where do you think we can sort of unlock their defense?
For me, Pogba is key for this game. Obviously, with the form he's in, with Liverpool's defense, obviously Rashford, like you said, he's key. He's been key in these games. I think the space in behind with Pogba playing that ball over the top, Rashford with space in behind. That's going to be a very dangerous weapon. So that's where I think we can hurt them the most. But it depends what formation we're going for, because people say the diamond pack the midfield, but that leaves space on the wide areas where Liverpool's main the danger threat is from. So, but I think Rashford and Pogba, they're the main two I'm looking at. And you said Bruno ain't played against Liverpool before, so I don't know what to expect really, but I hope we get a penalty. And I hope he sticks it away.
I really wish we get a controversial penalty, and I suppose Klopp's tears. I really want to see him right about Man United getting penalties and all this nonsense. But listen, I hear that Pogba and Rashford, that link, the ball over the top. My personal vendetta with Rashford at the moment is this guy is basically Inzaghi. He's born offside at the moment. Can you please hold your run, man? Like,
but is it the pass or is it the run? Because maybe the pass is too late.
It's the run.
It's the run, man. Just hold it. He can see the line. Hold it, man. He's
always
so
the
quick
run
as well. He's so quick. He doesn't need to go early. So for me, that is a massive frustration. I think we can definitely get him behind. You already alluded to Trent as being basically a weakness defensively. Chris, what are your thoughts? Is Pogba even going to start for you, by the way, Chris? Because if we were not playing the diamond, does Pogba start? I know he's on brilliant form, but Matic is definitely going to be injured surely for this game. So how does where does Pogba fit in for you? If you
well, I mean, I don't think you can play the diamond against Liverpool. I agree with Jerry. I think you expose yourself on the wings, and their strength is Mane and Salah. You just can't do that. For me, you can't do that.
Absolutely.
So, like I said before, if you play with the two defensive midfielders, if you play with like McTominay and Fred in those positions, then yeah, you'll be better defensively, but you're just not going to offer enough going forwards. And as Jerry said, like Rashford in behind, yeah, that is the key. So you do have to defend when you haven't got the ball and try and make that transition. But equally, you need players on the pitch like Pogba, like Bruno Fernandes that are capable of making them passes. Yeah. So you have to get the balance right. But for me, yeah, Pogba in the midfield three, sort of McTominay for me as the central midfield player, if you like, with Pogba and Bruno just in front of them in a 4-3-3, and then they're allowed to go.
McTominay's good enough to do that.
I agree with that.
That's tough.
I agree with that. I don't think McTominay's good enough.
No, because I'm not saying that McTominay plays there on his own. When you don't have the ball, they become a pair. Yeah, Pogba goes into position, but then when you get the ball and you in transition is when Pogba then becomes the second eight, if you like. A little bit like he did for Juve and like he does for France. He sits with Kante when they haven't got the ball, but when France get the ball, he moves forward with the 10.
Can't say McTominay is like a Ferrari to a Fiat, isn't it, really?
No, he is. Yeah, he's not Scott McTominay. I appreciate that. But
Pogba's not going to defend.
Who we've got.
Yeah, no,
Pogba's not going to defend, so we need to replace his legs from a defensive point of view. So that's why I think he'll play. I like Chris's lineup with McTominay playing at the base, and then Bruno and Pogba in front. But if Martial's not available, Bruno might play as a false 9.
And in my formation, don't forget as well, you're playing Bruno as an 8, not a 10.
Yeah,
I hear that. Look, we've got a comment here from Jamie, and I completely agree. He's not going to play a 4-3-3. He's never done it. So against Liverpool, I personally don't think I think he's going to go 4-2-3-1 with a double pivot. I would love to see Pogba get further up and drive, which is what we saw in the second half against Burnley, where he was riding the challenges, obviously carrying the ball. Alice, what do you reckon? Just Pogba, obviously we'll go through the whole lineup in detail, but do you think Pogba gets in the team for you, or do you think he's undroppable?
Me?
Oh, Alice, sorry.
I think with Pogba's few recent performances, like he has been really good, so it's difficult to drop him. And I think probably play McTominay and Fred in the middle. He likes them in big games with Bruno ahead, but I could see Pogba maybe going in that left midfield role that he did against Wolves and Villa. Maybe if he doesn't want to drop McTominay and Fred, he could put Pogba in there, especially if Martial's out. That's one less attacker, so you got like Rashford, Cavani up top with Pogba, and then Bruno, McTominay and Fred. I think Fred has to play. I think it sounds weird, but Liverpool's midfield so much, and Fred runs a lot. And even when we lost 2-0 at Anfield last year, Fred never stopped running. Fred was that one player that I felt like could walk off the pitch at the 2-0 loss to Anfield last year, and he said he did well. So I think Fred will be in the midfield, and I think Fred, Pogba, Bruno would be a brave midfield. I'd like to see that, but I think with Fred, McTominay, Bruno, and then Pogba off the left, because I don't think you can really drop Pogba because he's actually been really good the last few games.
Yeah, to be fair, I've gone for the exact same lineup of what you just said there. I completely agree. I think Martial could, even if he's injured or not, I would put him on the bench anyways because I don't think he deserves to start over Pogba quite comfortably. And Pogba should have a free role off that left wing for me, basically. Just allow him to flow. Obviously, he's got to do his defensive duties going back to Mark with a Salah on that side. But Neil, what do you reckon? Who's your lineup? What are you going for?
Did you just say Pogba's got to do his defensive duties?
Well, did you not watch the last game? Come on, Neil, get on the programme.
No, sorry. You know I love you, but come on, put the feet down.
Right, listen, I've got Fred and McTominay behind him. They'll cover him, man. It's calm, don't worry.
I would go with McTominay and play Pogba and Bruno in front, but depending on who's fit up front, he could play Bruno further. He might play Pogba up front because he's not going to track back. So leave him up there, and he can work with whoever the other front two are.
Well, he did track back against Burnley, though. You got to bear that in mind. He did actually track back.
All right, once in 6 years, what do you want? A Christmas present?
Oh, no,
come on. He's not known for tracking back.
I remember that kind of man. It gives me nightmares.
Has anybody ever said that Pogba, he's out of a box-to-box player? No, of course they haven't. But anyway, he's a fantastic player with the ball at his feet going forward. We need to get the ball to him. So we need the legs in the side to get the ball back. It's an awkward one for Ole because I think if he goes with the attacking lineup, then he's obviously confident in the side he's got and he feels that they can go and get a win. And that's what I'd probably play Fred I'd play Fred or McTominay and then Bruno and Pogba in front. And then the front three that can catch pigeons.
Who's catching the pigeons? Who's you got up front catching the pigeons, Neil? Come on. Who you got?
Who can catch the pigeons? And you're not. Rashford's quick. Martial's quick.
You playing Dan James then, or?
Dan James. Well, don't take the piss.
What is the case with Dan James?
Dan James is a good. Dan James will be a good outlet with 20 minutes to go to stretch the game.
Yeah.
And that's where Dan James is good because he's super quick. The issue with Pogba playing on the left, it really exposes Shaw at left back because he's going to get no help from in front. So you're going to have to pull a centre half over. So I would stay fourth, like Chris has said, the holders and then the four attackers. Because if we can't win a game without those four attackers that we potentially got, then and we can win games with the four that's potentially going to be named on Sunday. They're good enough to win any team.
Yeah, no, I hear what you're saying. I think with those attackers, we can definitely cause problems to that front line. Jerry, what's your lineup, bro? Obviously, you kind of mentioned your midfield. Who's your lineup? And no one's even said the defence, to be fair, but I'm kind of assuming what the fullbacks are. Who are you going for your full lineup?
You said Dan James, and I'm thinking, I haven't even thought about that because what game was it? It was a Leeds he came in, and we was all and James is starting, but he actually did play well that game. And if Liverpool are going to come at us, it could work, but personally, I wouldn't start him. My lineup, the centre back, I think, come half free when the team comes out, we're all going to see who's partnering Maguire in the centre of defence because Lindelof, if he's fit, I think if Lindelof's fit, Oli he gravitates towards that punch. Who I'm playing? Bailly, 100%.
Yeah. You think Ollie's going to play Lindelof?
Yeah, I have a strange feeling.
That's going to be a disappointment, that, for me personally. I don't know what the rest of you think. But
strange? Sorry, what did you say?
Who would you go? He thinks Ollie's going to play Lindelof and Maguire. For me personally, that's a mistake.
Yeah, I think I'd go with Bailly, though, because of his pace.
Yeah.
Well, who's the rest of your team, Jerry?
So left back, Luke Shaw. I think, as Neil said, he's been excellent this season. I mean, I think the arrival of Tellers has just took his game to a whole new level. I would actually play McTominay and Fred. I think as a partnership, they're better than if only one of them plays. So they'll both have to play for me. I'm playing Pogba on the left, and then Bruno, the number 10 behind Rashford and Martial. If Martial's fit, I actually start him because I think Cavani, because when he started this season, I don't think he's done much. Is when he comes off the bench, like he's more of an impact player. So I'll actually have him in reserve on the bench, and then if we need him, he comes on. So yeah, that's my team.
All right, that's interesting. I've done the other way around. I'd rather put Martial as a reserve I think for me personally, someone made this point on the show that was on prior to this. They haven't got proper centre backs, and Cavani's movement is elite, and they're going to struggle.
Yeah, that's a shot.
So, and as soon as they made that point, I thought, no, what? That's a very valid
I understand that.
having the team. Fabinho, to be fair to him, has been brilliant, but anyone else who's playing along him, it's either going to be Henderson or Williams, from what I'm aware of. They're not going to be able to. If I was Cavani, I'd say, look, sit on the other centre back, whoever it is, Williams, Henderson, and I just want you to run in behind him every single time. We're going to have to try and find you. Chris, what do you reckon? You've heard what everybody else has had to say regarding their lineups. What are you going for, mate?
It is tough. I mean, Jerry's probably right. He'll probably pick Lindelof for some unknown reason. He'll do what he did against Man City and think he'll go deep and play with the four. He won't play Tellez. He won't play Bailly. I wouldn't play Tellez either, but my point being, he'll pick the 4 most defensive defenders. But yeah, I would pick Bailly all day. It's interesting what you said about Dan James. It is true. He had a great game against Leeds. And you mentioned already that Martial hasn't really been doing it. And James isn't in the same league as Martial, don't get me wrong. But in this game, the thing is, Liverpool's biggest threat is those crossfield passes from Robertson and Alexander-Arnold. They do it all the time. They crossfield passes the ball so well to Mane and Salah. And I think if you play that tight diamond, which would probably suit us the best, you're going to get exposed all the time. Especially Pogba's off the left of it, like you said. He's just not going to go. And so that's why you can't. And that's why for me it's a 4-3-3 anyway. Sure, Wan-Bissaka, Bailly, Lindelof, obviously De Gea in goal, McTominay and Pogba with Bruno just in front. And yeah, probably Rashford, James, and Martial as the 3.
Yeah, no, I hear that. No one's mentioned Greenwood because obviously he's not in good form. But we've also got him off the bench that could potentially cause
James McCarthy, Mane.
Yeah.
What about Lingard?
Lingard?
Someone just said to you, Usmaan,
he's going to Nice, mate.
It's not an ultra.
I know he's going to Nice. I'm the sarcastic one on this group, by the way.
I think that's serious.
What about
Alice, in terms of, we'll do the transfer, don't worry, Neil. We'll give you your Lingard slot. I really don't like him. It's all good. Alice, in terms of what you're expecting from the game, so let's just say we've got a crystal ball. What are you seeing from this game? How do you think it's going to pan out?
Oh, that's such a difficult question to answer because with Man United, you just don't know what Man United team will show up. Will it be the Man United team that balled it to Leipzig, or will it be the Man United team that went and beat Leicester 2-0? I mean, we didn't play that well in that Leicester game, but, they showed up and they pulled for a result. And I think it really all depends if the players are up for the occasion. We bottled funnel, so I do worry, big game, top of the league, the pressure, we could bottle it. But you just don't know. Liverpool's a massive occasion. And we beat City 3 times last season because we knew City were a massive occasion. Yeah. And I think, we will be feeling confident. I think Ole will lift the dressing room. I think Liverpool have got a lot of injuries. And I do expect it to be a good game. I worry that, it might be shaky the first 20 minutes, might be a bit defensive. But I think it might be a slow first 20 minutes. But I think once we get in the rhythm of the game, and if we don't go 1-0 down, 20 minutes in, I feel like we'll start flowing. It also depends on passing because there's games I watch and our passing's awful, and the games we play badly, and it's because our passing's bad. But then all of a sudden, we'll put loads of good passes together, and so it does really depend on who turns up, and it is an away game. And although Liverpool have the best home record, we have the best away record, and we just seem much more confident away from home. And second half, I feel like we always play better. So if we are 1-0 down away from home, we could come out in the second half and turn it around. But I just think it's what Man United side turns up and if they're up for the occasion or not. Bravery, maybe.
Yeah, no, you mentioned the word bravery and obviously the fact that we're up for the occasion. Neil, obviously to go on what Alice has said there, just to give you a couple of stats this season, or sort of results. Arsenal, we've lost. Spurs, we've lost. Man City, we've lost in the Cup. Drew to them in the league. Chelsea, we drew to them. I think we beat Leicester. It was the only team that we've beaten of any note. No,
we drew 2-2.
Oh, did we draw 2-2? Oh, yeah, we did, of course. They scored right at the end of the 85th minute, of course, what went about. So we bottled that one as well. The point I'm trying to make
one draw away all season, bottled it.
Oh, my God, it's true. Listen, that Leicester game, we bottled it, Chris. I'm not hearing anything. We had 5 minutes to hold on to what would have been a brilliant result. But listen, the point I'm trying to make is against the bigger teams, last season, we were brilliant. Against the Leicester teams, we were poor. However, obviously, that's kind of flipped this season. We've been very good against the Leicester teams, so to speak. Against the bigger teams, we seem to have struggled for whatever reason. Chelsea, Man City, in particular, and obviously the Leicester game, we drew to all of them. Alice kind of mentioned the fact that the pressure, can we deal with the pressure? At the moment, it looks like we have kind of struggled in these bigger games. Is any of that a factor for you going into this game? Because this is a huge game, isn't it? Let's be real. We hate him as fans. It's a huge game for the table, and it's a rivalry as well. There's a lot riding on this game.
Well, the only thing I worry about as regards Sunday, I think our squad is a better squad than theirs because we've got more depth. I think Liverpool have been slightly exposed this year because of the injuries they've got. And by the way, going to the comment that someone said James shouldn't start. I didn't say he should start, but I said he's a good option on the bench for the last 20 minutes.
That was targeted. Yeah.
Well, anyway, but my point, as long as Ollie can treat this game like any other game, in terms from a management point of view, because this is potentially one of the biggest games he's ever been in charge of.
Yeah.
Since he took over United. Because suddenly this is the one, if we got a win, we're 6 points clear. And I know if's a big word for 2 letters. But my point is, as long as we don't manage this game like a rabbit in the headlights, I mean, the worst thing, I had this thought earlier, I thought, bloody hell, this is the sort of game where Ollie in the 6 months ago would have said, right, we'll play 3 centre-halves and we'll go 3-5-2. And I'll be like, no, don't. Play the normal system we've always played.
Yeah, no, I think
nice for Kojo to turn up.
Yeah, no, he's only 2 minutes.
That took so long, man.
Listen,
my phone said 7 o'clock.
It's difficult to get these bookings these days. Everyone's too busy. Yourself, Kojo,
my phone said 7 o'clock, Kojo.
I was somewhere else doing another one, and I was like, let me run to my boy Usmaan, so yeah, I apologize.
I'm ready for my bath now. Bath night on a Thursday, yeah.
Oh, God, you'd love to see it. But Carly, listen, you've come. We're just slagging off Liverpool, basically. I'm sure you're going to enjoy it.
Oh, beautiful. Yeah, I'm here for that.
But listen, we've kind of alluded to the fact that going into this game, there's a lot of pressure riding on it. There's a lot from our perspective going into it. How are you feeling going into the game? I kind of mentioned the fact that we've not really won against any of the bigger teams, so to speak. Is that something that you worry about going to this? Is that another occasion for us to potentially bottle it? Or do you think the players are going to finally overcome that duck?
You know what? I agree with the whole big game thing because we haven't beat any of the other top 6 rivals, so that is a worry.
11th, so I don't know if you can't.
Yeah. Well, yeah, but yeah, but this is. I'm not stressed about this game. I'm not stressed because
clearly you're late.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, I would love to slap up. I'd love to slap up Liverpool in it, but the thing is, the pressure is all on them because this is one of the greatest Liverpool sides of all time in Premier League history and all that rubbish. At the end of the day, they need to win this game more than us. That's facts. And the simple as that. They're not in great form. They have been shocked by draws with West Brom, Fulham, losses to Aston Villa. For us, it's very simple. None of us expected us to be in a title race at any point this season, in my opinion. So
I did.
I think we shouldn't be worried about this game too tough. I think we should just try and get the W. And if we draw, I'm not mad. If we win, I am going to be absolutely uncontrollable. And if we lose, I'm not even going to be stressed. If it's humiliating, then I'll be angry. Yeah. But if it's a loss, it just takes us back to a level playing field. They're going to drop points. We'll be second on goal difference. It's not going to stress me too tough. So, but I really think we can win this game. I think the players have found like a newfound energy. There's a different vibe in the team right now where everyone can really see what's ahead of them and they really have their targets set on making an impact in this league. I think I look at the squad and I feel like the squad is good enough to win things, but there's always been a lack of consistency. Now they're starting to find a consistency, but how long they can keep it for is the question. And obviously you got them noisy neighbors starting to like creep up and win their games in hand. So it's just about what they can do, but we shouldn't worry about those guys anyway. Do your job on Sunday and then continue to do your job and everything will fall in line. And if we win the league, great. If we don't, I ain't gonna be mad. So I'm not worried about Liverpool right now, to be honest. I'm not stressed.
Yeah, first and foremost, I've got to pick up on the fact that you said that if we lose this game, you're not going to be stressed. If we lose this game, those Liverpool fans are going to be absolutely unbearable. And every other rival fan as well. It seems like we're basically, everyone's against us, Jerry. Like, Everyone hates us again. Is this not a sign that United are starting?
That's what we want.
Exactly.
Love adored, never ignored.
Yeah,
exactly.
that's the
You
saying.
love to see it, man. You love to see it. Is that a sign in itself, Jerry, that teams are starting to fear us now, man?
Yeah, man. I told you, all the other fans, they're rattled. They don't want to see United at the top. But we've been here. Well, we ain't been here in a long time, but we're here now, and they don't like to see it. Like Arsenal fans, when's the last time they were top? Like, I think.
Well, Jerry, I made a rule on yesterday's podcast. If you're 8 points below us, you can't chat to us. So Arsenal and
yeah, cool.
Don't talk to us because you guys are so irrelevant that we don't even look at you. I'm hearing Arsenal playing today. I wasn't even aware.
Oh yeah, I forgot.
Yeah, I didn't know you were playing. So just please stop.
Oh, what's the score?
I don't think it started. Has it started?
I don't know, man. You got to stay in your lane. But listen, the last question I wanted to finish on, Chris, is Coach kind of alluded to it there in terms of this team can do things. For you personally, what can this team do? Because the question or the sort of title is something along the lines of we could win the title, but more seriously, what are your expectations in terms of moving forward? Do you feel like there's something special happening, or do you feel like it's just one of the moments that we're currently doing well?
Is that for me?
Sorry, that's for Chris. Sorry, I thought.
Oh, sorry, man. I thought it was Jerry. Look, I mean, there's a lot of teams that can win the league. Yeah, even the teams that look like they're behind us in terms of like their quality. I mean, people were talking about Spurs at the beginning of the season. People were talking about Chelsea until they realised Frank Lampard was in charge, and the whole thing's falling apart for them. And it probably is only. We'll come top 3. We'll be in a 3-horse race. We might not win it, but the question: can we win the league? Yes, we can. There's 3 teams that can win the league, and we're one of them. And right now, for where we have been, I'm happy with that. And build on that next season, win it. But we can win it. We've got a 1 in 3 chance, I would say.
1 in 3 chance. Alice, what do you reckon? Is it 1 in 3 for you as well? I'm assuming it's us, Man City and Liverpool, according to him. What do you reckon?
Yeah, I think it is between us. I'm quite, we are in the title race, especially with the way we started the season. And going into the season, just like I think the season's about closing the gap of City and Liverpool, not quite challenging them. And I think right now we are challenging them. And if we can keep up this form, keep up this momentum, win it. I don't think Spurs have been good enough. They've been good. Worried that now we're top, we could do a Spurs and Chelsea and crumble once we get. But I think it will be between us, City and Liverpool. I think City and Liverpool are probably still favourites a little bit ahead of us because no one really expected us to be up here going into the season. But yeah, I think we can win it. I don't know. We'll, have to take each game at a time. But yeah, I think we are in the title race for now, and hopefully we'll be in a title race with 2 or 3 games to go.
Yeah, no, 100%. And Neil, what do you reckon? Obviously, Alice and Chris think we can win it. What do you think?
A few months ago, I said, why can't we win the league? And I got shouted down, not on your podcast, on a different podcast. And I said, we're Man United. We should be challenging for the league every year. So why can't we win the league? The only thing that will stop us from winning the league, in my opinion, is ourselves. And that's from the management group down. It's nothing to do with the Glazers, nothing to do with the board. It's if the experience, because we don't seem to be very experienced as a management, the team that are looking after the first squad. We've got players that have been there and done it, but we've not got a lot of managerial experience and coaching experience. So I think the only thing that's stopping us from winning the league is ourselves. And this is Ollie's learning very, very quickly, and he'll learn more on Sunday, and hopefully he'll learn as much about himself as he will the team. But hopefully that will be in good stead for further months and years ahead. But I don't see why we can't win the league, because I haven't seen any team out there and thought, well, the City looked good recently. Yeah. Because they've got Kevin De Bruyne. And I don't wish injuries on players, but if he got injured, I'd be all over us to win the league. I think we're as good as any. Oh, here he goes. Put the cap on back to front. End of the show, people. So, thanks for coming. Thanks for coming, Kojo. I know what that means. But the only thing that will stop us winning the league is ourselves.
Yeah, no, I get that point completely. Like, obviously, I've kind of alluded to the fact that, for me personally, it's going to come down to mentality. Liverpool have been there, done that. They've got managers been there and done that. Obviously, we know about Pep Guardiola. He's done it everywhere practically. They've got a lot of experience in their players in terms of actually being going the whole distance. Basically, our players have not got that, which does definitely worry me. We've got a lot of inconsistent performers at the moment with Rashford. Martial in particular has been well under par. As a huge fan of his, I can't sit here and defend him at the moment because he's not been nowhere near as what I'd expect of him. Colin, in terms of your thoughts, obviously then we'll get the score predictions from everyone. Do you think we've got enough to win the league, or where do you feel that we're going to fall?
I do think we have enough to win the league. Where we could potentially fall is if we get back into old habits of poor finishing, poor defending. Obviously, I've gone on to certain people in the defense. For some Harrys, some Victors, some Lukes. But no, all in all, they've been in good form, especially Maguire. He's been good. The Burnley game was very important for me because I really need him to take command of that box and deal with all the crosses that they were going to throw in, the aerial threats. And he's been doing that. The midfield's been doing their job. Matic was really good. Pogba's been back in form. Bruno does what Bruno does. The only problem is against Burnley, we had chances to finish, and Cavani and Martial both missed chances that they should have been tucking away or at least making it work properly. So that's the only way we can throw it. I agree with Neil that.
Of course you do. I know my stuff.
There you go. So but it's true. It's true. At the end of the day, it's on us, man. It's facts, isn't it? It's facts. He's not lying. He's not lying. At the end of the day, if we do throw this away, you can't talk about the Glazers. It's about the guys on the pitch doing the job. It's about the manager picking the right players and doing applying the right tactics towards the game. So that's where we have to judge at the end of the day, even though we know how we feel about the Glazers and everything else. So, yeah, we can win the league. The team is good enough to win the league. But again, if I see the same old nonsense creep back, then, of course, it's not going to happen. And at a time where City are being so good defensively and they're starting to creep games, it's not about 4 or 5. They're winning 1-0, 2-1, 2-0. We need to be on point as well and do our thing. And when we meet these guys in the second round of games, we need to get better results. We can't be losing to Arsenal again. And we can't be losing to Tottenham again. We have to beat Tottenham. We're better than these teams, in my opinion, that we lost to. And we have to be beaten. Hopefully we start this Sunday with Liverpool.
Yeah, listen, this would be a huge result. And just to finish off with everyone's score prediction, we've got a comment here that leads me on beautifully, if I can get it up. Is from Daniel Lee. Basically, he said the last time we beat Liverpool at Anfield was, I'm assuming it was Wanfield, January 17th, 2016.
Swear down.
Wow.
Wanfield. Obviously, Matt's not going to be playing, but we still got some quality in there. Bearing that in mind, Jerry, what's the score prediction, brother?
3-1 United.
What?
Wow.
Yeah, man. You know why? I say that? Because I'm thinking when Spurs faced them at Anfield, Spurs should have really scored a couple against them. And I think if we get the same chances, we're burying them. So, yeah, man. 3-1 United.
Okay.
Wow. Okay, I'm liking the confidence. Chris, what do you reckon? What's the score prediction?
7-0. No. 2-2. 2-2.
2-2 at Desmond. Okay, fair enough. I wouldn't be too disappointed about that. Alice, what's his score prediction?
I'm gonna go 2-1 United and a controversial Bruno penalty.
Alice,
I love that.
Stop it.
Beautiful.
Listen, that's beautiful. I would love nothing more than that. And Klopp tease at the end of the game, crying about some dodgy pen that Man United have got. And how the refs are getting paid off. You would be right, they are getting paid off. And Neil, what's his score prediction, bro?
2-0, and I hope 2-0 to us, and I'm desperately hoping for a Jordan Henderson own goal.
What? That's so specific.
I know. Why so specific?
The one where the corner comes in and they go to whack it out with the right foot, and he comes off the outside of his right foot and slams into the top corner.
Lukaku did that 3 times.
I want one of those where he's trying to clear it and he throws his goofy bastard head up and he slams it into the top corner. Sorry, Alex.
I take you don't like Henderson then.
It's place of cesspool. I don't like them either.
Yeah, listen, I'll take Henderson. I don't even care who he comes off. And Cody, last but not least, what's his score prediction?
Yeah, I'm going 2-1 as well. And you know what I want an unlikely winner. Remember, like when John O'Shea scored the winner out of nowhere? I want like a Wan-Bissaka to come out of nowhere and just slap one.
Luke Shaw.
That would be sick.
That would be beautiful. That would be beautiful.
30-yard screamer.
Yeah.
Coach, if Wan-Bissaka calls, I'll drop you a text to let you know what time the next show starts, so you can be on time. Is that all right?
That's cool.
Your contribution's been magnificent, just not enough.
It's been absolutely fantastic. Coach is a regular, so it's all love, innit? Listen, my score position, I'm going to say 2-1 Manchester United. I'm kind of torn between that and a draw, but as long as we don't lose, for me personally, I'm going to be happy. I've got to be honest, because we'll still be a top at table, which is the only thing that currently matters. Anyways, that brings me to the end of the show. I just want to say a massive thank you to our panel. As always, make sure you drop a like, subscribe to the channel. Everyone's links to their YouTube channels are down below. Obviously, we'll allow you to give yourself a shout out anyways, because that's what we always do. Alice, starting with you, where can the people find you?
Thanks for having me on the show, and just type in Talks Football on YouTube, TikTok, and our
Yes, it's in the description anyway. The link is literally right there. You just click on it and go straight to the channel. Neil, same question to you. Where can the lovely people find you?
In my kitchen with a bottle of red.
Okay, fantastic news. Beautiful. Cody, where can the people find you?
You can find me obviously on your platform at Usmaan Talks United, and you can find me on my own podcast, Free Midfield, over there on Twitter, Spotify, and the rest. YouTube, Free Midfield Podcast, and you find me.
Yes. Jerry, same for you, brother.
Yeah, that's Jerry United _ on the Twitter, and United Team Talk on the YouTube. And yeah, let's go.
Last but not least, Chris, bro, where can they find you?
On Twitter, I'm at Let's Talk United without the E in United, that was already taken, and Premier League Today on YouTube as well. Thanks,
Chris, you're Let's Talk United. I didn't know that. I follow you, mate. You're more than
listen, before they get all emotional over this reunion, I'm going to talk over them. It's very rude. I want to end the show and then we can talk behind the scenes. Everyone's links to their YouTube channel is literally going to be in the description. So all you got to do is just hit the link, go subscribe to their channel, show them love, and of course support their content. I have got a show tomorrow with Hayden before I forget. We're going to be talking about racism in football, mental health, men's mental health in particular, and of course Manchester United as well. So make sure you tune in for that. I believe that's at 8 o'clock. But apart from that, it's been your boy Usmaan. We're back tomorrow with more content. As always, drop a like, subscribe to the channel, show love to our guests in the description.